Welcome aboard the Southern Vectis Needles Breezer and what is widely reputed to be one of Britain's most spectacular bus rides. This commentary will point out places of interest and historical significance which you may care to visit along the route. If you wish to leave the vehicle at any point, then please just press one of the bells located in either saloon, and remember, you may hop on and off the vehicle as often as you like. We begin in the historic town of Yarmouth. Once called Ermwood, meaning muddy estuary, this is believed to be the site of a Celtic settlement prior to the Roman occupation. In the 12th century, a town was built here by the Northern Baron de Redvers, who bestowed the first charter upon the town in 1135. Some 200 years later, Yarmouth was subjected to a series of attacks by the French, who sailed into the Solent and ransacked the town, and repeated this in the 16th century. This persuaded Henry VIII that a castle was needed to protect that part of the island from attack. The castle was completed in 1547, and since then, Yarmouth has been free from French or any other invasion. Isle of Wight steam railway line, which ran 12 miles from Freshwater through Yarmouth before terminating at Newport. This line was opened in 1889 by the Freshwater, Yarmouth and Newport Railway and was closed in 1953 following a public inquiry. One of the original locomotives on the line, number 2 Freshwater, which was built in 1876 and was purchased in 1917 after a few years on loan, still survives to this day in a restored condition on the Isle of Wight Steam Railway in Avon Street. copses, woods and forests. 9% of the island is wooded, and half of that is ancient woodland. The island is one of only 4 places in Britain where the endangered red squirrel is thriving. With an estimated island population of 3,500, so it provides a natural barrier from the outcompeting and stronger American grey squirrel. Anyone found to be releasing a grey squirrel, a mortal enemy of the red, could be fined up to £5,000 and jailed for 2 years. Today as the mother of all festivals. This was also one of the last places the legendary Jimi Hendrix performed live. Jimi played East Affron Farm on August 30th, and 19 days later tragically died. The attendance at this festival to this day remains the highest attendance for any music event in the country, with over 600,000 people turning up for the festivities. It currently ranks at number 7 in the world's most attended concerts, with only the likes of Rod Stewart and Jean-Michel Jarre overtaking the 600,000 figure. To Alum Bay and the Needles. At the top of the dam, at a height of 147 metres, stands a huge granite cross commemorating the life of Alfred Lord Tennyson. From here, on a clear day, it is possible to see Old Harry Rocks and the Isle of Purbeck to the west, Yarmouth and Lymington to the north, and to the east, much of the Solent, as well as a large part of the western half of the Isle of Wight and St Catherine's Point. stop is for the imposing Bestival Lodge, which houses a museum dedicated to the life and works of the pioneering 19th century portrait photographer Julia Margaret Cameron. The gift of a camera in 1863 sparked Julia Cameron's interest in photography, and it was from her home and studio in Bestival that the greatest of the Cameron photographs were made. The house is now open to the public and contains an exhibition of many of her works, a Victorian dressing up room, as well as an exhibition of Isle of Wight pop festivals past and present. Over to the left are the extensive grounds of the Barringford Estate. This stunning building was the home of Alfred Lord Tennyson for 40 years, from 1853 until 1892. As you view the approach to Barringford via the sweeping drive flanked by mature trees, you will appreciate why Alfred Lord Tennyson chose this immensely charming house as his home. In the autumn of 1853, Alfred and Emily searched the Isle of Wight, determined to find a quiet retreat where Alfred could write. On seeing Barringford, an imposing late 18th century house with Gothic-style windows, castellated walls, extensive secluded grounds, and breathtaking scenery, he said, "We will go no further. This must be our home." And so it was, for some 40 years. Tennyson wrote many of his most famous works in the library here, including Idylls of the King, his version of the Arthurian legend, and that library still houses a collection of mementos of his life. He was a famous figure, striding in hat and cloak over the downs where he loved to walk. He said that the sea air he breathed when up on the downs was worth 6 months of height. Soil types that gave good agricultural land, woodland and downland. largest parishes on the Isle of Wight, with a population of almost 5,400. It has an infant school, a library, a sports centre with a gymnasium and swimming pool, a skate park, and a large recreation ground with a comprehensive range of play equipment. Freshwater has some great benefits: clean, fresh air, miles of footpaths and bridleways, many of them through areas of outstanding natural beauty, good beaches with safe bathing facilities for most other sports, from horse riding to paragliding. In 1635, Robert Hooke was born in Freshwater, the son of John Hooke Sr., who was the curate of Freshwater Church. Robert Hooke moved to London in 1648 and was educated at Westminster School before taking up a poor scholar's place at Christ Church, Oxford. He is credited with the invention of the watch balance spring, the development of microscopes, and most famously with the design of many London buildings. Collaboration with Sir Christopher Wren following the Great Fire of London in 1666. Near to the viewpoint within the Alum Bay landmark attraction. batch for each breeding hare. The hares were then used for hunting. We will shortly arrive at the Needles landmark attraction, where you will find glass blowing demonstrations, a 4D cinema, mini golf course and a sweet factory. Here you may buy the famous coloured sands of Alum Bay and take a chairlift ride down to the beach and back. There are also amusements, refreshments, ice creams and a gift shop. This is also the stop for the Needles Pleasure Cruise. For a small fee, you can choose between a 20-minute slow cruise to view the Needles Rocks and Lighthouse, coloured sands of Alum Bay, dramatic chalk cliff face, and the surrounding coastal features, or a 15-minute fast trip on the high-speed rib. Whichever option you choose, you're guaranteed a breathtaking experience. Customers for the Needles old and new batteries and lift-top viewpoints should remain on the bus.